Well, obviously, always great to get a win. It was really good for our seniors. It was great for our staff, our program, to come out and actually execute and achieve some of the goals that we've set for ourselves all year long, which is eliminate the mistakes that cause SMU to beat SMU. And while we didn't create any turnovers, we didn't turn the football over, which in the past several weeks it's not been the case. We've given the ball up and we've given up points with it, which has been critical. But it was good to see that. It was good to see some guys really continue to get better. And I think you can look back, probably you take Navy out. Navy's a really good football team. It was a really bad matchup for us. And they're obviously a bad matchup for a lot of teams across the country. But when you take that out and you look at the way that our guys have played the second half of the season, we have been so close in so many games, and it's been the mistakes that have led to points for your opponent, which has really kind of been our Achilles heel. So to be able to come out last week, eliminate those mistakes, put together a strong, second quarter, which was much needed, was good to see. Obviously, got us kicked off with another field goal block. One of the tops in the country in blocking it, and then being able to score off of it really energized the whole sidelines, created a spark, and really got us going at that point. But again, good to see for our seniors, and much needed, much needed win for our program. So with that, I'll open up. I know we're obviously traveling to Memphis this week, and got a huge opponent in front of us, an opponent that's looking to send their seniors out with a win. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, so they're going to be very focused and in tune, and want to make sure that their seniors are sent out the right way. We've got our hands full. They got one of the best quarterbacks, not in just our league, but in the country. He is very much a veteran, and has proven himself by his play this year. Got talented receivers. Justin has done a great job of building this program up, and I've said it before, this conference is full of turnaround programs, and Memphis just several short years ago was at the bottom, and he's done an outstanding job. He's very well respected, and a great football mind, great offensive mind, and obviously it's proven in how he's turned that program around over the last 3 to 4 years. So we've got great respect for him and their program. We've got our hands full, both offensively, defensively, special teams, and I know our guys will be ready and excited to build off the momentum that we have off the last week. So with that, I'll open up.
The first 2 possessions for you, it looked like the Navy game to start with, and then you guys really attacked with balance. Can you talk about how important that was, kind of sticking to the run and pass?
Yeah, I thought we put our defense in a really bad spot the first 2 drives. I think the starting field position for Tulane, the first drive was on the 45, the plus 45 going in, and then the next one was on the 25-yard line going in. And for our defense to hold them to 0 points and a block a field goal, allow us to get get 7 points out of that was huge. I thought it really created a spark for us. And then once that spark got going, you saw us. I thought we ran the ball really efficient. That was the game plan going in, and I thought we did a good job mixing it up. One thing I was really pleased with Matt was the fact that he managed the game very well. He took the short passes, and that was something that Coach Craddock has really stressed to him of just manage the game. Take what's there, and just keep the chains moving. And I thought his ability to find the checkdowns early in the game to his outside receivers was critical, keeping drives alive, and then being able to run the football. Xavier Jones obviously was a standout, a freshman that broke the freshman record of touchdowns in a season here at SMU. So it was great to see a true freshman perform like he has. Obviously, Braden West has been another one that's been very special for us this year, and we know what Cortland Sutton has done, and all of those guys being freshmen, so that was good to see.
You can talk about the progression of the offense. I know the playbook, you probably still not even halfway into that. But the big plays happen. How much was that the offensive line, or was it just a complete?
Yeah, I think as you look at it, when you run the ball for whatever it was, 352 yards, I mean, you obviously did some good things up front. I know that, they played well up front, was able to provide a much-needed spark for us. As we look and go back after this week, we'll go back and do a quality control of our whole program by position. We probably got through, I would say, 40% of the offense. We really early in the year we had a lot more on, and really had to scale back. It was we weren't being as effective and as efficient as we needed to be from an offense, and so the best thing we thought to do was scale back and get good at something. So to see our guys again, not just last week, but over the course of the last several weeks, and how that we have gotten better, and to see it all kind of pay off was really good. I thought it was important to see our defense play well last week. Again, we've given up the big plays quite a bit this year, and for them to eliminate that, even though they did have a few big plays in the run game, which was disappointing. We were at least able to eliminate when we did give up a big play. It didn't result in an automatic touchdown. We did have too many penalties. That was something that was very concerning. Last week, it's very uncharacteristic of us. Matter of fact, we've been one of the least penalized teams in the country. But for us to have 14 penalties last week was, and 2 of those on defense resulted in drives that ended in a touchdown. And so that was disappointing.
You've said that you noticed, I think the wind coming out of the sails was one way you phrased it, after the James Madison game. After getting a conference win against Tulane, have you seen any tangible measurement of getting the wind back in your sails, for lack of a better way of putting it?
I thought last Tuesday was probably as bad a practice as we've had all year long. It was a very lethargic, just very uncharacteristic of us. It was something that was we had to address, and addressed it that night. It did. The James Madison game did take a lot out of us, and then we've had to, and I've shared with you weekly that we've had to kind of go back and change how we measure success. And then when you look at our schedule, and I know I keep saying this, but when you look at our schedule compared to the rest of our conference, our opponents that we've lost to this year have a record of, I believe, 72-25. We have by far the hardest schedule of any team in our conference. I mean, our winning percentage, I had all that in front of me, but I think our record of opponents is 75-46 from everybody that we've played, which is I think about 65% winning percentage. And when you look at the next closest to us, it's right around 55%. And then as teams, we even have teams that, and again, you can only deal with what you've been given, but there's, when you deal with teams that that are playing teams that basically are 50 and 50, they're 50% win loss, and so that's kind of been the theme this year for us. I mean, we're getting everybody's best. I think we've played 6 teams that have 9 wins or more. So our guys, while we may not be seeing it on the scoreboard, these guys have gotten better. And like I've shared with you, we've had to change how we've measured success in small increments to keep them focused and to keep them going, and understand that there is a process here, and it is paying off. It's just we're not seeing it just quite yet on the scoreboard. Again, I'm not justifying winning. Winning, it's what it's about. We got to win on the scoreboard. I understand that, but when you're building a program from 1-11, you try to look for anything that you can build off of. and to see that we share with our guys, we have played the hardest schedule by a long shot of anybody in our conference. And the positive thing with that is we've been right there with them, right there to the end. And so it did. We built on that all year long. The win in the sales, so to speak, after the James Madison game was very disheartening. Obviously coming into last week, being able to come off the field with a win, to see these guys in that locker room Friday night or Saturday night, excited. There's that's what it's about. And so that we're going to take that momentum in this week and have a great week and go from there.
Considering Tulane was a conference opponent and you had gone through the streak prior to that, did it feel any different for you personally?
Well, I was just I was excited for our players. I mean, and specifically our seniors. And I shared with our guys last Sunday, a week ago after the Navy game, that they have no idea. We've won a lot of games. As coaches, we've all won a lot of games. But the one thing that we tried to stress to all our guys is they have no idea how bad that we as coaches want it for them, that we want them to experience winning. We've done it a bunch, but we want them to be able to experience it. And so I was more excited for our guys and our staff and the families of our staff than I was for anything else, because there's a lot of work, a lot of heartache that's been put in, and when you look at it, it's taken a lot of mental toughness for our guys to finish. And I've said that to them from about the last 3 to 4 weeks, that it was going to take an incredible amount of mental toughness to show up every day and to work and prepare with a purpose to finish this thing out the right way. Now, I can go get anybody to finish it, but to finish it the right way, it's going to take some mental toughness. And so to see that pay off last Saturday, that was special to see those guys experience it.
When you look at Memphis, they won 8 straight to start the year, then they've lost 3 straight. What kind of tangible differences have you seen in those 2 streaks?
Well, they've had to deal with some injuries, and and again they've played. They've had to go on a run right here where they played Navy, and then obviously was up in the fourth quarter and lost a lead there, and then last week going and playing a Temple team that was they're playing for their conference championship, and so they knew they were going to get their absolute best, and we all know what kind of team Temple has and what kind of defense Temple has, and so for Temple to hold them out of the end zone was that was tough, so there they are. They've kind of been reeling the last few weeks, but again, coach does a great job with those guys, and we're going to get their best. I can promise you that. We'll get their best, and they'll be ready to go and to send their seniors out and on a positive note. So, but they've had a few injuries along the way that's really kind of hurt them a little bit as well.
Portland Sutton has been used in a lot of different situations, punt returns now and everything. Was there ever a time when you guys took over that you considered him as a safety?
No. 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 I think he's a really special athlete that doesn't know how good he truly can be. He's so green. I mean, his route running, it can be really good and it can be really atrocious. I mean, he has such a huge upside, and when he fine tunes, and I know Coach Craddock will probably speak a little bit more on this, but when he fine tunes the small details of his technique, he has a huge upside. But again, it's getting him to understand that, and because you're not always gonna to be able to be bigger than everybody else. I mean, but he's got great body control, and we've coached some unbelievable receivers, and he has the ability. Now, he's got a long way to go to continue to get to where some of these big-time receivers that we've coached are at this stage. But, the potential's there, and I think he's going to take the success that he's had this year and build on it in the offseason. And I think you'll see a totally different Cortland Sutton a year from right now. I really do.
He does so many things
Yep.
that don't even show up in the stats,
Yep.
and especially like blocks.
Yep.
He stays with the guy. And
Yep.
as coaches, how much do you guys respect that?
Well, I give Coach Stepp and Coach Craddock so much credit with that, because we're relentless in making sure that you play just as hard without the ball as you do with the ball, and that's how you become a great player, is what you do without the ball. And so, but again, his route running, again, it'll be really good at times, and it'll be really bad. But comes from a great high school program, so those guys, Coach West and those guys have done an unbelievable job with him. But I believe he was recruited here as a safety, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and but no, since we've gotten here, he's been a wide receiver, and that's where he'll stay. But yes, he's got a big upside. There's no question in that. I think we've all seen that.
When you've looked at Memphis and doing the game prep, and when you look at how Temple held them out of the end zone, held them 300 yards below their average, what did they do that was able to throw an offense that had been as good as theirs?
Yeah, well, playing Temples and seeing them on film all year long and having an opportunity to play them out here, I think Temple obviously is very sound defensively. They play incredibly hard. They're very tough, so we've seen that firsthand. And so they played with great passion. They swarmed the football, created turnovers, and so they were just they were very physical.
If you've gotten to compare the tapes maybe from your offense versus Temple and Memphis's, was there anything you noticed that you guys did a little better than them?
I don't know so much that. I think I think we executed in some areas, and I thought we left some points out on the field against Temple. We had an opportunity to win the game in the final 2 minutes of the game. We got the ball in our hands, down by 5, and all we got to do is go score, and we got a chance to win a game. But kind of like what happened last week, they made a play, and that's wasn't so much what we did. It was a credit to Temple's defense, and I think probably a lot of that, after watching them on film, I think Temple's defense made some plays, and much like they did right out here.
What challenges does Paxton Lynch present different from other quarterbacks you faced this year?
Very accurate. He's extremely accurate. Runs well. People forget about his ability to run the ball. I mean, he's 6'7", 245, and runs exceptionally well. Makes really good decisions. So when the pocket does break down around him, he has the ability to escape the pocket. But the one thing that really impresses you, probably more than anything, as an offensive coach, and you always like to look at really good quarterbacks across the country. And regardless if we were playing him or not, I'm a big fan of his because of the way he plays the game. He's very aware of where his checkdowns are. He's very has a great pocket presence about himself, and that's called being a veteran. That's called understanding and being able to manage a game very effectively. So he's got great receivers that he get open, and he always is aware of where his checkdowns are.
Give an injury update, medical report going into the last week here.
No, for the most part we're fairly healthy. We hope to get Jesse Montgomery back this week, but we'll see. He'll try to go today, and we'll know a little bit more after that.
How's Caleb Tuiasosopo?
He's expected to go today at practice as well. So he was. They thought that we might be able to put him back in the game late, but we just decided to hold him. But I think he's already started his protocol, and he's done a great job up to today, and we're going to let him go a little bit more today and see if any symptoms occur. But I think he's going to be fine.
How does the Thanksgiving holiday affect your week of preparation?
Well, it really doesn't. I mean, we'll be the same today and tomorrow. With no school tomorrow, we'll bump practice and meetings up an hour, have a little bit more time to meet with them. We're not changing, you know, because this is the last game. We're not changing. We're not changing practice. And we're going to be out there our standard time today and tomorrow, and we'll get up Thursday morning and have meetings early Thursday morning and go to practice, and we'll have a Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow night that we'll celebrate with all our players, and then we'll let them go Thursday afternoon, and they'll have a place to go, whether it's to a coach's house or to a player's house, but there won't anybody be spending Thanksgiving by themselves. I know that. So, and then we'll report Friday morning for meetings and get on the plane.